Today on Rock the Park,
We are getting there.
we're in Colorado,
I'm gonna give it a shot.
battling the altitude
I can totally feel the elevation.
and going far beyond our comfort zone
I don't know how I feel about this.
to summit a mountain over 14,000 feet high.
It's become apparent that this is not your average hike. One misstep and you're tumbling.
It's one of the most mentally challenging climbs we've ever attempted.
This is a crazy move right here.
And it all starts right now. I'm Jack Steward.
This is the real deal.
And I'm Colton Smith.
These are mountains!
We've been buddies for years, always in search of the next adventure.
Dude, what was that? We share a passion for our national parks and other wild places around the world.
Oh my God. Heading off the beaten path, pushing our limits, and experiencing nature's best-kept secrets.
Here we go!
It's how we rock the park. We're high up on a 14,000-foot mountain, and I'm straddling a ridge with dizzying drop-offs on each side.
Just taking it slow and steady.
You're doing a good job, man. You got this.
Hoping to safely conclude what has been a crazy climb.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna give it a shot. This is sketchy, man.
We're in the Colorado Rockies, a spectacular range of towering peaks, wild rivers, alpine lakes, and a stunning array of wildlife.
This is Arapaho National Forest, a high alpine wilderness that grows from the foothills just outside of Denver. And it contains some of the highest peaks in the Rocky Mountain range.
Colorado is great for so many reasons. A lot of these incredible mountains are really accessible. So our drive to get to the trailhead today is not exactly long. However, just because it's accessible, you can't just go up there willy-nilly. You gotta have a car that can handle it, and this road is proving that to us right now.
We wanted to come to Colorado and climb another 14er, which is a mountain peak that is over 14,000 feet. And Colorado has a ton of these things. I think there's over 50 of them in the state.
Today, our goal is to conquer two, Gray's Peak and Torreys Peak. Both are among the 11 highest mountains in the state. Most people start with Gray's and take the saddle over to Torreys. We're doing it the opposite way.
We're going up Toris Peak via Kelso Ridge, and from what I've heard, this route is gonna be really, really interesting. It's gonna involve some hiking, a little bit of scrambling. It's not really a formal route, you just kind of feel your way up it. So it's gonna be perfect, but also a very, very big challenge.
This is Colorado, and this time of the year, weather is always a concern, especially when you're up way, way high on these rocky, bare ridgelines.
Wind, rain, hail, snow, and lightning especially can move in fast in the afternoon. It's one of the reasons hikers are advised to stay below the tree line after 12 o'clock. Lightning often strikes the tallest thing in open terrain, and you don't want that to be you. We're starting at more than 11,000 feet, where the air pressure is much lower than at sea level, making it more difficult for our bodies to absorb enough oxygen. That means we breathe faster and work harder.
When you're up at elevation, you gotta take every precaution possible, because really what that high altitude does is it kind of throws your body for a loop.
The last thing you want is to be on a hike headed to a place that you've always wanted to see and get altitude sickness and have to come down.
Altitude sickness can occur at elevations higher than 8,000 feet. Symptoms include headache, nausea, and fatigue, and in some cases, it can be life-threatening. So it pays to be prepared. If you're flying in, give yourself 2 or 3 days to get acclimated.
One of the biggest things you can do is make sure to be well hydrated and to bring lots of water. I mean, last night I was chugging water. This morning I'm still chugging water, so I'm pre-hydrated. But also I'm bringing way more than I think I'll need. Right now I've almost got a gallon of water in my backpack to make sure I've just got a steady flow of fluids going into my body constantly. You know, and food's also important. Every time you go on a hike, you want to make sure you have some food, some snacks to keep yourself energized. But at high altitudes, make sure that you're fueling yourself with the right types of foods to really set yourself up for success.
As you climb, you burn more calories, and that means you need to eat more complex carbohydrates to maintain strength and brain power.
I'm going with some good solid nuts. High in carbohydrates, good proteins and healthy fats, but this is a time too to maybe indulge yourself. You can eat some pasta the night before, just make sure that it's whole grain. And also some dried fruits. Dates in particular are a great food to bring out on the trail. A lot of vitamins in here, iron, fiber, carbs.
Your diet should also include at least 30% protein because it helps build and repair muscle. Things like nuts, peanut butter, and meats are good.
I always like to bring, some chicken, maybe some salami to make my own sandwich.
And as long as it's not your main source of carbs, it's okay to carry a candy bar or a sweet as a treat.
It's a good little boost of energy, plus it's a nice treat for your mental health when you're out on the trail. Honestly, that's important too. We better get going if we want to get up this mountain before that weather rolls in. You can see all these clouds.
And that's another thing. Start early so you can beat the weather and still take it slow enough to avoid getting sick.
Man, I'll tell you, I'm getting lightheaded just talking.
We're in Colorado's Arapaho National Forest on a mission to bag 2 peaks in one day.
So what we got here is Gray's Peak ahead of us. That is going to be our second peak of the day. Torreys is the one that we're starting with. It's just around the corner over there.
Gray's is the tallest mountain that goes along the Continental Divide.
Gray's Peak tops out at a staggering 14,270 feet. Toris Peak is only 3 feet shorter, and hopefully that's where we'll be standing after we climb another 3,000 feet from where we are now.
I can totally feel the elevation. It is really hard to escape. Oh my gosh. Woo!
The altitude can hit some people harder than others, and one day can be different from the next.
And the challenging thing about altitude sickness is there's only one cure. It's to go back down.
The first part of our climb takes us along a wide trail through spruce and fir trees and alpine shrubs.
This is the perfect place to spot yellow-bellied marmots. These rodents are similar to woodchucks and like to come out of their burrows to feed on vegetation or just to soak up the sun. These little guys are a good reminder to stop and just take in the moment.
We always get so focused on getting to the top of the mountain that oftentimes we forget that the joy of the mountains is the journey.
There's something about the air up here. So fresh, beautiful flowers, jagged peaks. It just really lifts your spirits. These are the places where I really just feel alive.
So far, we've hiked almost 2 miles and gained just over 1,700 feet in elevation. We're in an area with a rich history. In 1859, gold was discovered here.
Got ourselves a mine. It's pretty cool. They've got this old mine shaft, and it's closed off so you don't get in there and get trapped, because these things can be pretty dangerous. But it's always awesome when you get to see this, because this is literally a stamp in time history right in front of us.
Mining history too really led to the recreation that we're able to enjoy here now. I mean, people in the 1860s weren't exactly coming out to these mountains to enjoy a nice day of casually hiking and standing on top of a 14er. They started building railroads out here and making this area accessible because they were just crossing their fingers that they were gonna make it big.
Just thinking about what it would have been like to work at this altitude reminds us that it's probably time for a break.
You always want to be making sure you're stopping down and constantly refueling yourself. Your body needs it, and the thing is that when you're up at high altitude, sometimes your mind kind of plays tricks on you. Your stomach just doesn't necessarily feel like it needs food or that you need to be constantly hydrating, but the fact of the matter is that you do.
Oh, the simple joys.
So we can see our 2 peaks now. We've got Gray's off to the left, Torreys to the right. We're going up Torreys first. And I'm starting to get eyes on Kelso Ridge, and it looks pretty mean.
Kelso Ridge is popular for its rock scrambles and a section called the Knife's Edge, just before you summit Toris Peak.
We are now officially on Kelso Ridge, and it is just the perfect spine. Looks like the back of like a stegosaurus or something. Rugged, rocky, leading all the way up to Toris Peak. And I have a feeling it's just gonna get more and more vertical with each step.
And that means we're using much more energy and muscle, which can tire you out more quickly.
So this is a legitimate scramble we've got here. Not difficult, just gotta work our way up it, but I'm gonna be shouting down rock if anything becomes loose.
Just remember, you got those poles in back of you.
Yep. So, definitely be careful. Not difficult, but one misstep and you're tumbling.
It's become apparent that this is not your average hike. We've got exposure, scrambling, steep grades, the altitude, gnarly. That's exactly what I signed up for.
Our first big climb pays off at the top with an encounter you can only get if you're up this high.
And of course, way up here on this steep, steep rocky ridgeline, we find a mountain goat, the acrobats of nature. We see so many of these guys, and they're always just in these incredibly precarious spots. But these guys were built for this environment. They've got these cloven hooves that allow them to so just strategically tiptoe around these rocky cliff edges.
It might be working for the goats, but the altitude and exertion that this route requires is starting to take a toll on us and our crew.
So we've got a little bit of a situation here. We've got weather rolling in, and our crew is having some issues up here at this altitude. Yeah, who's feeling it? And just please be honest if you're feeling like you're gonna have trouble getting up this.
I'm worried for myself at this point, and I don't want to slow you guys down any further with the weather that's coming in.
Our producer and one of our photographers turn back. And in a few minutes, we'll be deciding whether we should turn back too.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Colton and I are attempting to summit Toris Peak in Colorado, and the route we're on just keeps getting higher and harder.
We are getting there. We're essentially on our last major push up to the summit. It's pretty long, but it is the last stretch. So we're getting there.
Although it may be long, it is the final stretch.
We're on Kelso Ridge, and the trail continues to get more and more narrow until it essentially just disappears and lands us in a spot where we're not sure what to do. The tiny footpath in front of us has a massive drop off on the side.
Yeah, I don't like this. See what you think. It's pretty darn sketchy. Without ropes.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna give it a shot. You've got grips and handholds like on the right, you know? This is where it's a little dicey right here. I'm clear. Somewhat, actually, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm kind of in a danger zone.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
I decide to follow in Colton's footsteps.
Yeah, just kind of like how I did. Just really as best as you can. You got good long arms too, but yeah, just 4 points of contact. The old head catch up to the body quick.
We make it across only to instantly hit an even more intimidating stretch.
This is sketchy, man.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I know it's doable.
I know
it's doable. It's sketchy. It's extremely sketchy. I would normally never do this without ropes. That's insane. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm being dead serious.
No, I know you are.
I feel like the further we get on this, the further we're getting ourselves into a trap.
We know this is a popular route, but what we're seeing should only be attempted with ropes, which makes us wonder if we're going the right way.
I wonder if the move is to climb over. Let me scout up here.
You feel good about that over there?
For the time being, I just don't know where it leads. The other side is a path, but then you would have to go along this like jackknife ridge.
We reposition to the other side of the ridge and carefully press on.
All right, deep breath, man. You got it.
Colton leads the way, successfully making it across another incredibly steep section. But I don't like what I see.
This is a crazy move right here. Like, this is insane. Literally, this move Colton just did drops off. One misstep and you're dead. This is something that I would want ropes for. I don't feel comfortable. I'm gonna turn back.
We're at a tricky spot of our climb to the summit of Toris Peak in Colorado. We're supposed to be looking for a route called Knife's Edge, but we're not seeing it. And looking at what's ahead of me, I don't want to continue.
Colton's already across. Rarely do I get these red flags that say don't do it to this extreme. I'm gonna listen to him, I'm not doing it.
I understand, and I'm right now, I went for it, I made the move, and I don't want to make the move again going down. The only other thing, and I didn't really scout this, so I don't know, but, you know, skirting across the ridge.
After a minute, I realized this is the Knife's Edge we've heard about. And apparently, people scoot across this steep ridge by straddling it.
This is what they were talking about.
Oh, it definitely is, dude.
Although it looks precarious, at least here, gravity is on your side.
You're doing a good job, man. You got this.
Okay. Just taking it slow and steady. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You always say, if we can do it, so can you. I don't recommend this to beginners. From here, it looks like we're getting back onto the normal scramble.
Nice job, dude.
Yeah, you guys too. You guys helped me through that. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Finally, after 5 hours, 4 miles, 3,000 feet in elevation, Toris Peak, a whopping 14,267 footer, is in the bag.
Summit?
Yeah, this is it. This is the summit.
Yes.
That's our summit, baby.
Woo! We made it. We made it. You know, we come up to the mountains to feel alive, and my blood is pumping. Yeah, living.
Yep. Heart is beating, and then you cap all of that off. All of that adventure with standing on the top of a mountain like this and looking at 14,000-foot mountains all around you.
Including Gray's Peak, the tallest mountain on the Continental Divide, which we had intended to climb, but we've got a decision to make.
To get down from here, we're gonna have to go over this summit and then work our way over to the switchbacks off of Gray's Peak. I don't know, man. I think it'd be dumb to attempt Gray's at this point.
Oh, I think there's a very good reason why we're standing alone on top of the summit right now, because in Colorado, when you see a dark cloud this time of the year, that's a really good indication that weather is moving in. And let's consider ourselves lucky it hasn't hit now, and let's take it as a win.
Yeah, it's just foolish,
Yeah.
honestly, to tempt fate, especially after such a scary moment that we had down there. But man, second 14er ever.
Heck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Our experience today proves that things don't always turn out the way you expect. Half our crew had to turn back because of altitude sickness. And with weather moving in, we're making the right call. And remember,
Hey, if we can do it,
So can you.
So the next chance you get, go out and rock the park.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.